there and welcome back to Japan, where BAND-MAID's new song Sense has just premiered, and I thought I'd go back for them to our old reaction type ways and turn you around a very quick review. Usually we take our time on these nowadays, but do you know what? Having known this band quite well and having just heard the premiere and then replayed it a couple of times on my way over to this undisclosed restaurant location, no sponsorship here, to record my review, I'm pretty sure that I've picked up most of what I need to say about this song. And what a song. Now, first things first, this song is not going to be a surprise to anyone who knows the band. It's very much in that sort of BAND-MAID doing BAND-MAID kind of territory, but don't take that as a faint praise, because as you guys will know if you've ever seen my top 25 BAND-MAID list, spoiler alert, that the song that came in at number 1 was Bubble, which kind of surprised me at the time. I thought I was going to just by my own biases go for something a little bit more out there, but hashtag no bias. Turns out that them doing them in their best and optimal way, at least in my opinion, is the strongest thing they can do. Guess it shouldn't be surprising. Now, Sense, very much like I say, is walking down that line. So first of all, let's talk about the ways it makes the most out of the BAND-MAID formula. And coming straight out the gate, I loved that intro. It reminded me a lot of the one for Warning at the beginning of Unseen World, because they seem to be using the exact same synth orchestra package they used before, which kind of has a bit of a cheesy MIDI sound, and I think that's a perfect option. A lot of bands would go for the big grand user, like a session orchestra, but something about using that little keyboardy sound, it kind of is that effect of pulling back the spring that I often say. If you go for something which sounds like it's supposed to be grand but is a tad underwhelming, it just gives all the more power when the actual instruments come in. Whereas if you started with an actual orchestra and then went into having the rocking guitars, it's possible that it wouldn't have as much impact. So I love that choice to go for the Warning-esque intro again. I mean, obviously it's not something you want to do on every song, but it's still feeling fresh and fun to me. Next, Konami's work on this was very Screaming-esque. I know certainly on Unseen World she'd started to go a little bit more towards using that sound that we first, as far as I can remember, heard on Screaming, that really sort of frenetic, almost screaming sounding guitar. She used it really well here. It wasn't quite as much twiddling until we got into the solo, which nicely contrasted the riff by going kind of all over the place crazy. But that leads me to another point about this song, which is it very nicely balanced the difference between the really, really crazy stuff, like I say, that solo, and the really high-powered stuff in the riffs, against what was actually otherwise a very sort of solid, stable song. The songwriting in most of this, fairly standard length chord progressions, everything was, shall we say, pretty by the book. Now, this allowed them to pin down what was quite a catchy and effective hook. I mean, that's certainly one of those ones that's going to be going around in your head for a fair old while, and every time you come back to it, you're going to be singing along to it. Certainly, it's going to be a great one to hear live. However, I would say that this song, for its best part, as I pointed out a few times already in this review, is BAND-MAID being solid in this solid form, and that might be part of the fact that it's a tie-in for an anime, I believe. I usually don't look too much at that side of things, but I believe this is an anime theme tune. Hey, everyone's got to have one or two. You're in Japan. You're not even recognizable unless you're doing anime theme tunes, maybe a drama theme tune, certainly some commercials. To me though, I think that this all left it down to really being Konami's song. Again, I would agree with anyone who said that she's probably done some more crazy stuff, more out there stuff. Unseen World very recently being a good example of that, but here I feel she took a fairly straight shooting BAND-MAID song, as straight shooting as any BAND-MAID song could be, and she really made the most out of all of those little gaps. I've said a lot recently about how certainly on Unseen World Misa was unbelievable. I've always been a very strong supporter of Akane's work. Miku is obviously the lead in more than just a musical way, but her progression, her talent has increased massively, and Psyche is always at such a high level that it virtually needs no mention. But I think that Konami is, apart from just being a songwriter, she is someone who really knows how to let loose on occasion, and I felt that this song was a perfect opportunity and a perfect stage for her to do it. For me, this was very much Konami's song. I mean, I guess from a writing standpoint, they pretty much all are Konami's songs, but for me, this one she really stood out on. Now, saying all of this doesn't take away from the fact that the song actually did still have some really cool twists and turns. They are all things that we've seen in songs by the band previously, but it was like they were going through a little bit of collection of their best hits of writing techniques. The little skip beat at the beginning of the last chorus, the way that the bridge broke down for a couple of nice little changes. But yes, it must still be said that It's not going to bring any surprises. I think it is just a nice reminder that the band everyone loves are still capable of doing their core sound, and I think I like how they come back and remind us of this every now and then whilst they're having their more crazy experimental songs, and I'm going to be giving it plenty more plays through. I do hope it turns up, and I suspect it will turn up on one of their future albums, whatever album comes next. I would like to see this on here because I don't feel on its own it stands out in the way that songs like maybe Choose Me do, or indeed Bubbler's songs that I would sit down and listen just on their own. Once this one's got a little bit older, or maybe some other songs have come out after it, I think it's going to be one of those ones that I'd much rather hear as part of a playlist or part of an album. Old-fashioned, I'm still more of an album listener. I like to have the route crafted for me by the band. But for now, it's a fantastic song. It's a good homage to what they've been doing up until this point, and it shows nice signs of progression and an understanding of their sound, which is always great to hear. Continues their tradition of fantastic musicianship, and I really enjoy it. I am hoping that I'm not going to get copyrighted for this music playing in the background, by the way. But anyway, to round this one off, I'm going to finish, as I always do with my song reviews these days, with a metaphor. And I think I got an apt one for this that I thought of whilst walking from my home where I had viewed the premiere to here, where I will be giving you my final metaphor. And that is, Sense by BAND-MAID is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Yes, okay, so if you're not looking for it or you're not interested in it, then yeah, it'll just pass you by. But if you are looking for it and you already know it's your kind of thing, you know it's that one time that will almost definitely not disappoint. And that, however expected as it may be, is a pretty strong compliment. So there you go, and I look forward to seeing your comments on this video because all opinions about music are subjective after all, so share yours and let's get this conversation started. A big thank you to anyone who likes or subscribes or follows any of the social medias linked in the description below. An even bigger thank you to our Patreons who of course keep this channel running because no adverts, we're not monetized. And a final special thank you to you for making it through to the end of this video. So until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.